How's it going, YouTube? And welcome back to another episode of Meet the Coaches. My name is Ty523, coach of the Miami Heat Trans. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Xavier, coach of the Dallas Victory Stars.
And today we are coaching someone from the JOTA conference, someone that's not even in either one of our conferences. Please introduce yourself, sir.
Hi, I'm Damon. I'm the youngest person in the GBA and the coach of the Cincinnati Regigigas.
How old are you?
Just 14.
Actually, I think Bob might be younger.
Really?
Yeah, I think he might be.
I remember him saying he was 15. Oh well. Second youngest then, maybe.
I'll say this. Sorry, Bob. This guy's a little more mature than you are. But let's go into it. When did you start playing Pokemon? I'm guessing, what, 3rd gen?
I think, no, it was 4th gen. I wasn't young. I didn't get into it at, the common age, which was, 5 or 6. I think it was at an 8th Easter or whatever, but I had gotten a DS a year or a half a year beforehand. I think it was at the birthday or whatever, which is late October, by the way. And so I got Pokemon Soul Silver for Easter that year, and so I started playing it, and I got, an hour in that day before we had to go to church, because it was early. And I absolutely loved it. And so I eventually got Platinum, and I started playing through that. This is back in the dumb ages where I didn't like Empoleon, and so I didn't evolve my Piplup. Fun times. And so I actually lost both of those games. It was in a case, and I think it might have happened when we moved. But I eventually got another copy of Soul Silver and beat that a couple times over, actually. I got Heart Gold, which was actually kind of a donation from my brother who wasn't really into it. And so I beat that. And then we moved up, and I was really hyped for the Black and White Gen thing, because I hadn't really gotten into Gen 4, because I didn't really know about anything. It was just like, oh, it's a Pokemon game. It's called Pokemon. And, there's TV shows. Let's look at that. Oh, it's crap. But, yeah. But, so I was really, following Black and White. Every time they made a review, it was, oh, that's kind of cool. And, me and my friends were all talking about it, oh, I'm not sure I like this one. Oh, I think it's cute. And so I was really following that, and it was kind of it was fun. And it was all this backlash to Gen 5, but I honestly enjoyed it. And then Gen 6 was that was the premiere for me, because I felt like I actually knew what I was doing now. Not just with the types, but with everything. I understood what Pokemon were good. I had watched it, so I knew, oh, I want this Pokemon, or oh, I want this Pokemon. And I looked stuff up so I could find my favorites, and I played through it at a really good time. Same with Omega Ruby, basically, though I believe I went all Gen 3. It was actually the fun story with the champion. I wanted to have a Mega battle just because I thought that would be fun, but my Mega Swampert got absolutely bodied by the Metagross's Zen Headbutt because it flinched.
Wow.
Well, you kind of answered our next question, which is, when did you start competitive?
So it was actually kind of 6th gen. It was just one of those things where I've been, so I watched PokeTuber and whatever, the standard. Someone made a Team Sad Blob joke, which is actually from Nate and Dookie, and I loved those guys for a while. I still do. But,
yeah, I think that might have been me. Stunfisk and Dunsparce OP.
Yep. Derp. But, so, what was it? Oh, yeah. So I really started competitive when I got my laptop, which I'm using right now, because I could finally play Showdown. And I got that at my birthday just last year, just late October again. So it hasn't been all that long, but when I first got it, so what I would do is during my lunch break, I'd get on my computer and I'd play Showdown. And so the first thing I always did was make a monotype team just so I could know the Pokemon. It actually worked out really well, which is kind of why I'm in OU and UU, because I really know those Pokemon more. Because, you're not exactly going to be bringing, I don't know, a Goribus to a mono water team. You're going to be bringing more Milotic, Tentacruel, Keldeo, that kind of thing. Just some fun stuff. And so, I don't know, I watched some videos. Mainly Shady Penguin was the one that helped me get into it, because after I was done with Monotype, I really wanted to start competing. And so, I watched his team building episodes, and that kind of brought me into the whole team building thing, which is still how I team build today. What's a fun mon I want to build a team around, create a core, then add some mons. My most successful team is in OU. It didn't do too much laddering, it's kind of for fun, but it's actually a superior team that has a superior Heatran core with not Rotom Wash. It has a Mega Scizor plus a Weavile in the back, and they really do some good pressuring. That's really why I wanted Superior with Mega Scizor. I know it's kind of copying Shady, but they just work so well together because you can either counter one or the other, honestly. And I mean, I know people will say fire types, but, you find a workaround. Rotom Wash, maybe. A Blastoise on my team. Dawn Fan, even.
Well, that's a good segue. For now, we're gonna start talking about your draft here. So, your
Okay.
very first pick was Mega Scizor. You were one of the
Yeah.
few that actually chose your Mega in the first round.
Yeah, I was on the edge about that one because my first pick was honestly going to be Heatran because, everyone says it's great. I don't think it's personally as good as people say, but, that's just me from experience. So after that got chosen, I was kind of at a dilemma, like, which one of these three do I want to choose first? Mega Scizor, Rotom Wash, or Superior? And I honestly wanted Rotom Wash over, so it was just kind of a what's going to get chosen first. And so I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think anyone's going to pick Rotom Wash after me first round. And so I thought I had a good chance of getting that on, the turnaround. So I went with Mega Scizor first, just because actually, Mega Scizor was cool, because I was thinking about actually getting Mega Lopunny, because I really like how that works. But I felt like sticking with what I know, so I went with Mega Scizor. And I got that, and I was kind of happy about that. A little bit disappointed as well that I couldn't use it on something a little bit better. But
Mega Scizor is definitely a good pick. He's definitely you can defensive, offensive, Swords Dance, sub. Like you have a lot of different options you can do with Mega Scizor.
Yeah,
So.
my favorite set is Swords Dance, Roost, Bullet Punch, and Bug Bite, just because it works so well.
That does
especially in laddering, but we'll see.
Leslie has probably one of the best priorities in the game.
The Bullet Punch.
Yeah. I mean,
Technician Bullet Punch. Stab.
Yeah, Bisharp can be made as an argument for that with Sucker Punch, but
Well,
yeah.
But also, with the new fairy types, Steel really became a lot more.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A lot more viable.
A lot of people wanted fairies, so there's one on most teams.
Yeah, my fairy is kind of Gardevoir, and that actually gives me a nice 4 times resistance to fighting, which kind of helps out with Porygon Z, which I drafted a little bit later.
Oh, how a fairy type.
Oh well, yeah.
Alright, so let's start getting into the rest of your draft. You've already mentioned some of them, but let's start talking about like you said, you wanted to draft Rotom Wash and Superior, and you got really lucky as you were able to draft both of them in the next 2 rounds.
Oh yeah, I was really happy about that. Superior, it's just one of those things where you have to have a team kind of built around it for it to work, because you need to have pressure from the Superior sweep, which means you need to have other things to kind of back up the pressure. Because if they're just worried about a Superior sweep, then they're going to be fine. But if they're worried about, maybe a Mega Scizor setting up a Swords Dance and then wrecking them, then it's kind of 2 things. So with the Rotom Wash, it was I know Shady got Milotic, and a bulky water type really does kind of work with the core. But I kind of prefer. I saw Rotom Wash, and I don't think Shady got a chance to pick it, but Rotom Wash just really kind of called it out, especially because it can be it is a little bit versatile. You don't see it all that often, but it can run offensive sets. It can be especially defensive, maybe an Assault Vest, but it also has access to Will-O-Wisp, which means it can kind of cripple physical attackers coming in, which is really a big boost because I don't have really a definitive physical wall besides Donphan.
Yeah. Alright, so and that's really good. The Contrary Superior is definitely a very once they gave a Contrary with Leaf Storm, it became really viable because you can run multiple different special attacking moves with Choice Specs or even Life Orb or whatever you want, and it can do a lot of really good damage.
Plus that glare speed control is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do want to try bringing it as kind of a support now, so pressure the sweep and then come in and have them switch their fast counter and then glare it and then have Mega Scizor or something outspeed and Bug Bite it. I don't know. I'm just really interested to try out new sets with Superior, because mainly I run a Citrus Berry one, because I don't know. That's just kind of my preference, because I don't like the Life Orb recoil, because I know it's going to because it usually has to take a hit. And I think a Citrus Berry and maybe a Giga Drain kind of helps it keep out of an outspeed kill range.
No, that is very true. Like you said, Superior has a lot of different ways you can run it, so it's definitely a positive thing to have there.
Plus, it's got some pretty nice natural bulk. It can definitely take one or two hits.
Mm-hmm.
Especially
I'm pretty sure before Contrary, it used to be a screens user in lower tiers.
I think so. It's kind of like a support thing.
Alright, so let's talk about your next 2 mons. You had Garchomp and Hawlucha, 2 really powerful physical attackers.
Yeah, so I actually had a mainly special core right now, especially because Mega Scizor isn't always going to be like, a standard switch in physical attack. It's going to be. So I was really looking to get some physical attacks. Garchomp fits really well, and you can see it with Shady's team as well. But honestly, I like it because it gives me another physical wall option, which honestly I don't have too much of because Rotom Wash does function better as a special attack, whereas it's not going to outspeed the physical attackers and get to Wisp off turn 1. So, and honestly, it's kind of a good revenge killer if you Scarf it, like with Earthquake, if you get those out of the way. It can really do some damage. And, you have Outrage for late game power if you get rid of the fairies. And, Dragon Claw if you need it. And it's got some good versatile moves, Poison Jab, Iron Head, and Stone Edge. It's kind of change it around. I do believe it also gets access to Stealth Rocks, which is kind of a... So even if I don't bring Donphan, I can still have Rocks if I want.
No, that's definitely true. We've seen with Shady Penguin, like you said, that there's multiple different ways you can run Garchomp, and it's definitely an interesting mon that a lot of people sometimes forget about because it's not utilized as much in the GBA as what a lot of people originally think it would. And it honestly, it got crippled, honestly, in my opinion, when it got the Mega, just due to the fact that the Mega's not that great. It lowers its speed, which is one of the few rarest Mega Evolutions that lower speed, and Garchomp's known for its speed. Like, a fast physical hitter was what Garchomp was known for, and then you Mega Evolved, and it didn't really happen anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the main thing is just that without that speed, it doesn't have the natural bulk it needs to be able to be like one of those great tanka hits and then kill the faster thing. Mm-hmm. Or, maybe a Swords Dance. It doesn't have any priority. And so while the attack boost is, great, it's just, since you can't run a Scarf or anything on anymore to make up for the speed, it's really all that more crippling. I mean, I remember, the reviews or whatever, oh, Mega Garchomp sucks because it lowered the speed by 10. And I was looking at it and I'm like, is that really all that much? But, looking at it, it's well, because it's holding the Mega Stone, you can't boost anything. And so that speed really comes into play.
Mm-hmm. And that minus 10 speed, and especially in this league, that's why no one ever drafts Mega Garchomp, because that minus speed is somewhat hindering to your team when you need sometimes really fast mons that can do a lot of damage. So
yeah, which kind of segues into Hawlucha. So I was looking at multiple mons. These first 4 were actually kind of my final picks. I also was looking for maybe Weavile. I honestly didn't think it was going to picked round 2, even with how good it is doing in the actual GBA. But, so, I was looking for something fast that could be possibly used as a revenge killer, and, maybe over that 110 speed, because that's kind of, the usual thing. And so I'm looking through, and, and Fernape looks like a good option, because I need Fake Out, but then there's, Ambipom, and so I'm thinking about that later. And I'm scrolling through just the list, I guess. And so I come across Solution, I'm thinking about it, wow, this thing is actually pretty fast. It's hard. I remember watching it, it's got some 386 speed at level 100. So, which is actually really fast, because 110 is 350 with bonus or whatever. And it has Unburden, which means I can run some different sets. And honestly, Sky Attack is something to be feared. I mean, even if, especially if you can, save that for a late game. So, the only problem with it is at this point, I'm not too realizing on it. You'll see it later, but I'm kind of building up an ice weakness.
Yeah, and Sky Attack can be, it's a lot of times the only way Sky Attack's really going to do work is when it's Surprise and it's Power Herb.
Yeah, I mean, but then you get the Unburden boost and then all of a sudden it's well, then what? Because, maybe if you don't need to run the positive speed nature, you can run a positive attack nature instead. And it does have some extra moves. It was one of those where it's I needed a BL pick, and a lot of them, it was on the turnaround, I believe. No, it was just coming off the other side, where the left drafts first. So it was kind of late, and I was looking at BL, and my main BL pick, what was it? Weavile had already been stolen. I kind of expected it to be gone by round 5, but maybe I would have taken Weavile instead of Garchomp, or maybe Superior then, lower those down and taken a little bit of a risk. And so it's just kind of my best option in BL, looking at it.
No, yeah, I can see that. So let's talk about your next couple of picks. You had Gardevoir and a Porygon Z. That's really definitely interesting draft picks there.
Yeah, that's just kind of me looking at
special attackers.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I was looking for special attackers next, trying to get a good balance. Because I am kind of a little bit heavily physical now, but I don't expect to I don't expect to be bringing all physical or special, and so I want some coverage on each end, and so the Garchomp and Halloween should have some good coverage on there, and fighting is definitely a type I needed, which is what I was looking for. And so on the other end of the spectrum, well, fairy types are really good, and so I'm looking and I see Gardevoir, and I'm like, hey, Gardevoir is actually pretty good. It's got some special bulk, which was also something I was looking for. And it's got a wide range of coverage moves. I believe Energy Ball, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Fairy types, Psychic and Psyshock in case you need to run anything. And I also believe some more defensive moves. So I don't know. It filled a lot of role. It could fill a lot of roles. Maybe not as perfect as some other mons, but it wasn't. We were in kind of the UU section by then, so it really kind of fit. And then that kind of. And speaking of like variety, I was also looking for something. I was also looking at Porygon Z later. Just kind of scrolling through the lists, and it really kind of works with like. It just has a lot of variety, and it can hit hard. It can also be kind of defensive. It has all these different moves. And, the 20-20-20 with Tri-Attack is always nice.
Yeah.
Maybe add a little bit of extra fun to the match, though some might not call it fun.
Yeah, those statuses are always definitely... Haxes can be a big thing, and we saw that with the GBA in Week 2, when Haxes were very, very, it can really change the whole entire battle. So, Tri-Attack causing different status ailments to happen is definitely a positive thing to have.
Oh, yeah. And, I don't want to entirely rely on, luck or anything, but, it's there, and, if I get it, I might as well take it.
Yeah.
My biggest model in the GBA is probably Shady with, middle ground plays, because I don't like making predictions, because I don't like making crazy predictions, because when I do, it's usually because I want that to happen. And so he and his middle ground plays are a really good, model for me and kind of, what to do. And so I know he doesn't, like hacks, but, which is, I don't know. I really like Mo for, hacks and whatever, but,
No.
It's not something you can rely on.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Another good thing about Porygon Z real quick, too, is that base 90 speed really isn't that bad, and thanks to that, you will outspeed, if you're max speed, you'll outspeed base 100s. So you will punish them if they decide to go modest or adamant.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And it's not super fast, but it adds an extra option for maybe something's choice. Honestly, most of the things on my team can be choice, but this is just me, and I have points to spend, and so I want to get something good. And Porygon Z is just one of those options where it's it adds a little bit of pressure. So even if the opponent doesn't exactly prepare for it, it can come in all of a sudden, oh wait, I don't have any fighting types. Or, oh, my steel type went down. Shoot.
No, yeah, that is definitely true. That's definitely true. Now, let's start talking about your next few mons, because both of them sort of, I guess some people can say, can sort of do a similar thing, since one of them's not the Mega Form. You had Donphan and Blastoise, which are both really, well, one's more of a better Rapid Spinner than the other, but they're both Rapid Spinners. So explain why you picked up 2 Rapid Spinners in a row.
So, I really don't want to have to use Defog on Mega Scizor. I feel like it'll just kind of hinder the moveset. And I will if I ever need to. But honestly, so at this point, one, I'm still looking for a definitive physical wall. And that's kind of where Donphan fits in. A ground type, it is weak to ice and grass. But, it's a ground type is really helpful to have, even though I already have Garchomp. And, maybe those two can kind of swap out. And Donphan also gets rocks, which is more hazards. And, it's not the best rapid spinner, because it is kind of I don't know, it does have some of the more common weaknesses, and the physical walls aren't usually the best for rapid spinners, which is kind of where the Blastoise segues in. So, I'm just kind of looking through, and at this point, I'm really looking for hazard control that I can bring in one form or another, because I have gotten crippled by hazards on Showdown and stuff. And so I'm looking and I see Donphan, and that's a good physical ground type wall, which is actually looking at. Because Hippowdon would have been good. I didn't really have the points for it with Superior and Garchomp being an OU-B. Because I didn't really want to have that many NU or RU. And so I kind of settled on UU to be my drafting tier, especially because BL got cleaned out really fast. And so Donphan was just kind of one of those that, maybe I'll end up dropping it. This is definitely the one mon that I'm looking at in retrospect that I might end up dropping and switching out, especially because UU is such a big tier, and I might find it's not really holding its own. But, I don't know, the Rapid Spin's always nice to have, which kind of segues into Blastoise. by now I'm really kind of looking for ice resistances because I'm just now. I mean, I know I had it for a little bit, but I didn't want. But the physical wall Donphan was more important than an ice weakness to me, especially because I can just bring some mons that aren't weak to it. And so I really want to get some ice neutral or resisted mons right here. And so that's kind of where the last 3 picks are. Perugly with Thick Fat, Delphox being a fire type, and Blastoise being a water type. And so Blastoise definitely isn't as powerful when it's not as mega, but because of this I can have items on it, which means I can have all sorts of fun times. It can be a defensive set, leftovers, it can have a citrus berry, it might be a I don't know. It's just a lot of fun. And with the rapid spin and the natural bulk, it can kind of fill in if Donphan has a really bad matchup that week.
That is very true. And even with the Mega Launcher, it still gets a really decent moveset, so even if you want to run like a special attacking Donphan, that's still an option.
Oh, the fun behind that, yeah. So, final 2.
Can I just say really quick, I am very, very excited for this next pick.
He's talking about it. He was very excited about this next pick.
Awesome. So, I did want to get Perugly before I went for Delphox just because I thought absolutely no one's going to touch a Delphox, and I was right. But Perugly kind of has a history. It goes back to Platinum, so I kind of already told you the story about not evolving my Piplup. But so, I have a level 21. I think it was like level 18 or whatever. Maybe it was 21. Piplup, and we're at the first kind of encounter with Team Galactic, I think it was. And so I'm following, and I go to the leader, and she has a Perugly as her second mon. I get to the first mon, take a little bit of damage. I see the Perugly, and it's like, oh, I've seen that somewhere before. It's ugly. And so I'm like, like a kid, like, oh, that thing was so ugly, and repeating joke from wherever I saw it. But that thing absolutely wrecked me when I first tried it, and I had to, use 4 potions when I went back and did it second time, and it really caused me a lot of trouble. And so it kind of started when I saw Shady's, but I tried it out once, and it just has a really good moveset. And I mean, it's not the fastest, but with Thick Fat, it gets some nice fire. It gets a nice fire and ice resistance, which are actually really common in kind of the metagame nowadays.
It does have base 112 speed, though. I just want to say.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, but one other thing, it has Fake Out, which was what I was looking for. Normal type Fake Out. Infernape was kind of considering, but then it's not super duper fast. And I was also looking at Ambipom, but that's got scooped up a little bit earlier. And so Perugly was kind of my backup, especially with Thick Fat, and I love it so much. And with Knockoff, U-Turn has access to all these fun normal moves, Retaliate if you want to run that, or, Facade if you're fearing something with Burn priority. You can always switch into that and be like, oh, joke's on you, kind of.
Yeah, Thick Fat is really nice, but it also gets Defiant. And you were talking about hazard control. If your opponent's going to go for a defog, instant +2.
That is true. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
This is the kind of thing that I'm going to do in the next kind of couple weeks, looking at all the options, maybe writing it down, or that suggestion somewhere.
It's Knockoff, Sucker Punch, U-Turn.
So many people underestimate it. I actually made a PU team around it just for the fun. It's really actually pretty good.
And it has higher base attack than Talonflame.
Well, I mean, Talonflame doesn't have the highest base attack, but good to know.
Alright, so let's talk about your last mon. Speaking of Talonflame, speaking of 6th gen, you drafted Delphox, the Fire Psychic type, in the very last pick in the draft.
So, I mean, I was actually a fire type person for a lot of my life. My first Pokemon was Cyndaquil, and I quickly grew up into a Typhlosion named Sunny. Same thing in my second Soul Silver playthrough, but that fire was always kind of my pick of choice. So, I saw Tepigmon and I was like, oh, that's so cute. And so it kind of evolves into the pig thing. And I'm like, oh, that's not as good anymore. So I went Superior because that thing. I especially like Snivy and like the anime just because it's so sassy. But so 6th gen comes out. We have a little fox, a little frog, and a little thing. I'm like, oh, that all looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go with but I'm still going to go with the fire thing because that's my thing. So they evolve in the second one. People are like, I don't like it. It breaks and whatever. And you have Delphox. People are like, it's ugly. Not as pretty. Greninja OP, Chestnut cool, go with them. And I'm sitting over here with my fire. I'm like, hey, Fire Psych is a pretty cool typing. And so I still
firefighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of those.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing all the jokes about if Delphox was firefighting, they show like a firefighting fox or something.
Oh yeah, I saw this one little meme. It was like they were asking the first stage evolutions. What should Fennekin's final typing be?
Oh, I saw
And then,
that.
yeah. And they like throw Chespin out a window for saying firefighting.
Because no one wanted another firefighting type. They had 3 in a row. Like, I can understand if like they broke it up, like changed it up here or there, and still had 3. But 3 in a row was just like, okay, you need to stop.
Yeah, even Drayano in the Blaze Black hacks and whatnot changed Embor to like fire, ground, or rock, I think.
I think it was fire rock because he gets head smash, so they made that stab.
Yeah.
But so Delphox, it's actually kind of underestimated a little bit because it does have, I believe, like 112 speed or something. I don't know, but it's got a pretty good speed. It's got some pretty good special Vulcan. It's got some pretty good special attack. It was between Delphox and Typhlosion for speed, attack, and fire typing, and Delphox beats him on bulk, speed, and special attack. So Delphox got the team spot. And maybe the psychic typing adds a few extra weaknesses, but it also adds some nice offensive options if I'm not bringing Gardevoir, because I believe Delphox has the same special defense as Gardevoir.
It has base 100 special defense, has base 104 speed, so...
outspeeding base 100s. So I do have some good medium-fast mons in the team. And Delphox, it's another resistance to ice, which I desperately need. Special bulk, take those ice beams... Or, maybe even the occasional ice shard, because those are definitely a thing. And I think it kind of rounds out the team really nicely. Just because especially with my UU team, it's like, look at the big OUA, OUB, the double OUA and OUB, and you're like, all right, I'm going to prepare for this. And then you look down and it's like, oh, he has so many other smaller things you bring. And if you don't, and honestly, you can't prepare for all of them. That's kind of my biggest problem with the Hayden matchup. Like, I can't prepare for everything. But they're all just so good at, like, replacing each other. Like, I do have a lot of kind of overlapping niches per se, but I do think it gives me some nice, like, versatility. Like, maybe 1 week Porygon Z has a better type matchup than Gardevoir. Or, Blastoise is a better rapid spinner. Or, I need to bring Purugly for some fake out U-turn action, just for fun.
You have a lot of different options there, and I was very when I was watching your draft, I was like, at first I was like, okay, this is going good, and then you sniped me for Donphan, so I was really about to pick that up.
Yes.
Because I really needed a rapid spinner, and then I picked up Honchkrow the very next. You drafted right before me on that round. And I picked up Honchkrow instead just because it was the psychic immunity that I needed, but also a defogger. But I was like, man, I wish I had that rapid spinner. And then you picked up Blastoise afterward, and I was like, why can't you just do Blastoise and let me have Donphan? But
I'm looking at that. I actually got sniped a lot in the middle rounds. Honestly, I would have definitely preferred Crest on my team because it can run either bulky set, and it's absolutely a tank to get down, especially now that it has Moonlight. I would have just absolutely loved that, but that was taken by Bob.
Yeah, he's very happy that he snapped that from you. When we interviewed him, he was like gloating how the fact that he was really happy that he sniped that Cresselia from you.
Another thing I noticed about your draft was you decided to go straight down in the tiers, except for near the end when you got your NU before your RU.
Yeah, I noticed that.
General plan, or did it just turn out that way?
It kind of just turned out that way. I remember looking at it and being like, wow, everyone's getting the best UU Mons before me. But then, if you look at the end, Tom, the last pick, is getting a BL Mon. Cameron is just getting his Mega Alakazam, his Mega, and it's an OUA, the last round.
I got a Tyranitar last round, just saying.
Yeah, and so everyone's kind of looking for, and I was like, and honestly, a lot of my Mons, I was kind of looking at it and thinking, honestly, for me, it's good to have some versatility and maybe not the best in every tier, but some good mons that'll do what I need them to do. And it wasn't all that planned out for me. If it wasn't, I have to get this, and if I don't get it, I'm going to drop down to get this before anyone else can snatch it up. Because honestly, I knew a lot of my picks weren't going to be sniped. And I'm looking at a few powerful things, and they did get sniped. But I found some good replacements, I think. Some mons that'll get the job done, and I otherwise wouldn't have looked at.
Did you actually get sniped besides anything else besides that Cresselia?
So I was looking at the Infernape for a little while because it's a nice physical special. What's it gonna run? Fake out, decently fast with 346 with a positive speed nature. That got picked up right before the Cresselia, which was kind of like one of those bam bam moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like unfurnick. All right, so I'm going with Crest now. Crest. Dang it.
Yeah.
But I did stay in UU a bit longer than everyone. I believe only one other person picked up 4 UUs, and that was just because I didn't pick up the typical 2 BL mons that I was actually hoping for.
Yeah, I picked up 2 OUA, 2 OUBs, 3 UUs, 1 RU, and then I picked up 3 NUs. Well, or 2 NUs.
Yeah, which is really something I didn't want. Like when looking at it, I was like, I'd prefer neutral Pokemon, middle UU tier, as preferred to some more nichey NU Pokemon.
Well, with NU has a lot of really good bulk to it, and that's what mainly I
Yeah.
went for. I went for Weezing, which was one of the bulkiest.
Oh yeah, I saw
out
that.
there.
That was like, I'm pretty sure that was the first NU draft, but not entirely sure. It was really high up, which kind of surprised me because I don't think anyone was going to touch it, but it's definitely not to be underestimated.
I just don't want to risk it because I really need it, and then I picked up Dusclops, which I know no one was going to take.
Oh yeah, it wasn't even on like the GBA thing or whatever.
Nope, but
I couldn't find it. I know because I was like crossing them out on the list or whatever every time someone made a pick, so I didn't like, oh, I'll take Suicune. The person before you drafted Suicune. Dang it! Let me have a half hour to rethink it.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was my Suicune.
Oh, that was just an example. I wasn't. When I partially looked at Suicune, because wall, special physical water wall, but honestly, Rotom Wash was just kind of the better choice for me with access to Will-O-Wisp and the Volts, which is always nice for keeping momentum.
Yeah, and Suicune is a better version of Milotic in my opinion. So
it depends on what you're running, but yeah, I can definitely see that. Slightly more bulk on both ends, along with some more special attack, and maybe it doesn't have the fun mirror coat or whatever.
Suicune actually does get mirror coat.
Oh, dang it!
Like I said, it's literally a better version.
Stay away from me.
But alright, so we next question is, who are you most excited to face? The conference is already out and the schedule's already out at this point. So who are you most excited to face this season?
Honestly, I want to say Tom. I haven't taken a gigantic look at it, but Tom, it looks like it's going to be so much fun. So, fun fact, I actually drafted his Mega, and he drafted my Mega. So, I have Mega Scizor, he has regular Scizor, and he has Mega Gardevoir while I have Gardevoir. I didn't realize it until, near the end of the draft when I was really looking at it and being like, all right, who am I going to be most afraid of? Is there someone I need to, really counteract? And Tom just looks like he has a really fun team to go after. I mean, he has the Milotic, which Shady, especially in the early leagues, has shown can be used to great efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
He has a Blissey, which is going to be fun to try and break through. I say fun cautiously. And the rest of his team, I mean, it's not what I would draft, but it's definitely good. Gourgeist can be really bulky. Diggersby I was looking at for a little while, but it didn't have the fake out that I really wanted.
Yeah, I wish it did have fake out.
If I'm not ready for it, Gothitelle can absolutely destroy me.
If Diggersby had fake out, he would have been jumped up to OU.
Oh, probably, absolutely.
Because fake out, being normal type, fake out, and huge power, that would be so broken.
Yeah, and honestly, Diggersby can be kind of broken, but I think it can be prepared for it pretty well.
Well, if you take away his huge power, his stats are not good. So his huge power is really what's giving him the reason to be in BL.
Yeah,
I mean, that's honestly
Zumarill too. Huge power really makes a difference.
Yeah. I mean, I've even seen non-huge power Zumarill putting in work with Sap Sipper.
Seriously?
Yeah, Sap Sipper and Zumarill is actually really a really common defensive set.
Yeah, I've only seen it once or twice, but an Assault Vest can absolutely eat up hits. And if you're not expecting it at all, so you have a wall in that can absolutely body, and I'll go for Grass type, it was super effective, and it's getting its health back. What? And all of a sudden, it's pulling out these random coverage moves out of its hat. It's switching in, it's taking hits. It's not I would say it's kind of gimmicky, but especially it's just one of those things where you never expect it.
That's very, very true.
Does Sap Sipper raise attack, or does it
I believe it
health?
does HP. Let me look at that.
I'm pretty sure it raises attack.
It might. I think it must be attack.
Because I think I've seen it on Go-Go.
It's on Go-Go, it's on Miltank, Girafarig, Zeb Striker gets it.
Attack is raised by 1 stage. Bouffalant gets it, Go-Go gets it, and Goodra gets it. Those are the... Yeah.
I'm so surprised Zeb Striker gets it. That would have been a really interesting pick for someone to pick up. With Lightning Rod, Motor Drive, and Sap Sipper, he can pretty much be immune to either electricity or grass. So.
I really, really wanted to have like a fast electric type, like Raikou, Zeb Striker was on the list. I was looking at one. I think I was looking at Manectric, but fast, strong hitting. Maybe not maybe not all that. Maybe not all that bulky, but they have Volt Switch for that. And I really wanted one of those. And I know Rotom. The thing I just couldn't get over is that Rotom Wash is already an electric type, and it doesn't have any of the weaknesses or resist. Doesn't have any of the weaknesses corresponding with that. But it's just I already have Volt Switch, and I really couldn't find a good. I just couldn't find an electric type with the right coverage I needed. Because honestly, Raikou has like 6 moves it can go for. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Aura Sphere, Hidden Power, and Signal Beam and Shadow Ball.
That is, if you run a special Raikou, you can run a physical
Raikou. That's true,
well.
yeah.
Could run like Rain Dance or Sunny Day, and then like Weather Ball.
True, yeah.
That is very true. But Zeb Striker, just as a point, it has his best 2 stats are his attack is 100 and his speed is 116.
Yeah, pretty darn fast for. I think it was in like RU. I feel like it should be RU. Yeah.
I think it's actually NU, surprisingly.
Well,
that does make sense. And it's one of those ones that's kind of cool, too, because it can run physical and special variants. I don't have as many of those as I would like, but I can pull something out of the hat if I need to.
Flash Cannon, Mega Sizzler.
That is the thing.
65 base special attack. Let's go.
Alright, so a complete 180 from our last question. Who are you least excited to face?
That is a really good question. Let's see. Definitely not Hayden, just because of all the hype going up to it. Like, as much as I think it's going to be a tough match, I'm really looking forward to seeing that. Like, seeing what we can do to really kind of turn the tide. And I do fully expect him to beat me at least one of the times, but that doesn't mean I'm going to go in there hoping for a win.
Yeah, beating the same person twice is definitely really hard.
Yeah. Especially because then you have to prepare a second time looking, well, do I go the same thing, or do I think he's going to bring something else?
Yeah,
mind games.
Just all mind games at that point.
Jolteon was actually on the list for the fast electric switching on as well.
So there's no one else you're least excited to face?
I haven't really looked too far into it. That's kind of like a later match thing. If I really, really had to choose one, it would probably end up being... let's see. I don't know. It'd probably end up being either the Heatrans or the Force Palms.
Heatrans, let's go! Let's go!
Yeah, the Heatrans, that's you, actually, yeah. Hi, Ty. But, it's just one of those things. He has a lot of attacking power, which can kind of rip through my team if I'm not careful. And Raikou, man, I love Raikou. I had it on 2 of my OU teams at one point. It's just so good. Especially like the specs, it has real power, and there's always a physical variant. And on the Force Palms, it's just like you look at it and it's like, whoa. And he just has so many crazy mons, and it's hard. And of course, there's always the Weavile. And I'm actually really scared to face the Weavile just because it has so much conjunction. Like the ice, I have a huge weakness to. And it does knockoff and it outspeeds my Delphox. That's not an option, And I guess Blastoise has Aura Sphere, I believe, but
it does.
Yeah.
So that's it's gonna be interesting to say the least. But is there anything else you'd like to say to all your Cincinnati Regigigas fans out there?
To the one of you that exists, root hard. I'm gonna try. Maybe wild card. Let's go.
Alright, well, with that, this is the end of the interview. I've been TieFighter23 with my co-host.
Bye.
See y'all later.